labelled as very hard. Display every manager along, display every person along with their manager. Now, the reason this is more complicated than it initially seems is because we've got the emp table. In the emp table, we've got information about people and also information about managers in the same table. So actually showing people and the names of their manager is tricky because all that information is in the same table. Imagine we had managers in a separate table. We could just go combine emp with the managers table. But of course here, what we do is we've got the information in the same table. So what we effectively have to do is this operation that's known as a sort of a self-join. To get both the names of the people and their managers, we can achieve that by combining emp with itself. So how does that actually work? Let's write it down in SQL. So select from where. Now, what we effectively want to do is we want to combine emp with itself so that we can pull out the emp and we can pull out the manager names. But of course this is an issue, because what will happen is we'll end up with loads of columns with the same name. And we won't actually have a way of distinguishing between sort of employee numbers that come from the first instance of emp and employee numbers that come from the second instance of emp. So the easiest way around that is to actually use the as reserve word. And what we can do is we can give these temporary different names. So let's call this employee, and let's call this one as manager. Now, if I actually run that now, we'll get lots and lots of different rows, but it's not quite right. But at least you can see here, you can see we've got, there's the employee number, which comes from the employee table. There's the employee name, which comes from the employee table. Meanwhile, over here, here's the employee number, which comes from the manager table, the renamed emp table, and then name, job, etc. So let's go back to the SQL. So we've combined emp with itself, but what we really need to do is we need to actually have something sensible to combine them together on. So let's bring the emp table up again. What we really want to do is we want to say keep the rows where the manager, which comes from the manager column, matches the emp number. So let's try and write that down. Here we are. So we want emp dot, and let's just bring up so you can see it again. We want, there we are. We want the manager number to match the emp number. What that does is that will show us a person's manager. So employee dot manager has to match manager dot emp number. I'll leave that there for a second just for you to have a look at it. What we're going to do is we're going to bind this table with itself, but the condition that we're going to combine these two tables on, in other words, what's going to turn this Cartesian product into a join, is on that emp number and manager column. We want to only retain the rows where the manager matches emp number. In other words, where the employee manager number matches the manager emp number. Now I can run that now. And hopefully you can see if we scan across, so have a look at March, for example. March, whose manager number is 938, has now been successfully combined with Gibson, whose employee number is 938, and you can read that all the way down the table. Now we can tidy it up. The original question asked us to show the names of the people and the names of the managers. Well, what's that going to be? We know we're going to have employee.ename and manager dot ename. There we go. Just leave that for a second. Right, let's run it. Oops. Oh no, I didn't put a dot in, did I? I just need to put a dot there. There we go. Try that again. There we are. We've got, I'll just make that a little bit bigger so you can see what's going on. We've got the names of the people and we've got the names of their managers. And that is an example of a self-join, because what we've effectively done is we've combined emp with emp, just like that.